And there's Linda with John. Let me welcome everyone to Joann Zwolski's studio visit. We're really thrilled to have talked her into doing this tonight. And you're in for a treat. I got a little bit of a preview the other day, so sit back and enjoy. Oh, let me make sure she can share her screen.
Oh, I'm the one that has to do it. I was going to sit back and enjoy it. Okay. What am I supposed to do? Share screen again, right?
You're all set. You should be able to share now.
All right. All right, here it is. Okay. First, I want to say thank you so much to the Peekskill Art Alliance for being able to give my studio tour. This is a great joy and honor and a huge learning experience for me. My name is Joann Zwolski. I am a visual artist. I'm also an art educator. I am a visual artist. I work with painting, both acrylic and watercolors. I do collages and I draw a lot. Today, I'm going to be emphasizing my acrylic work. That'll be my direct talk. But my indirect talk, you'll be seeing some of my watercolors. I'm going to be giving you a presentation, have you see my studio, and I'm going to talk a little bit about my work, and maybe after the whole thing, if you have any questions, I'm hoping to have some answers for you. This is a close-up of some of the work that I'm working on right now in my studio. There are many different sizes, but you'll start to see a similarity in a lot of them. Here's a little film of my studio. This is where I make all my masterpieces. I want to talk a little bit about my college work. Abstraction has been my language. I have always...
Can I lower the sound?
And are you on mute? We good? I have always loved abstraction. This is a painting that I did when I was in college. I went to Pratt Institute for my undergraduate work, and I went to the College of New Rochelle for my graduate work. This painting has a little story behind it. It traveled from Brooklyn to Yonkers. It was Mother's Day, and I didn't have a gift to give my mother. So I said, oh, I have a painting. So this 5-foot painting, of course, I covered it, and I carried it from Brooklyn to Yonkers, and it became her painting. My inspiration comes from the interpretation of 3 art elements. I allow the unexpected to happen with endless possibilities as the results. Those 3 elements are line, color, and texture. My painting tools that I use are traditional brushes of all sizes, shapes, and non-traditional. I tend to be very serious, believe it or not, when I'm doing my artwork or when I talk about art. I become very, very serious. But I also have a playful way with me, and I want to bring some of my playfulness to my painting. And I have discovered that by using unusual tools, that it helps me to be engaged in my playful side of me. I am well known for using this tool, a potato masher. I have a large one and a small one, and you can see some of their marks that they make from the white marks on that small piece. I have a favorite color, and that is red. Red brings me joy. I can be down and it will just brighten my day. Red has helped me throughout this tough year. It has given me strength. and it has given me courage to continue. This is a wall from a show of some of my red paintings that I did. It is a show that I had at the Kent Library. Funny little story also with this is a friend happened to be at the Kent Library, didn't even look at who had done the piece and knew right away it was done by me. Here's a short little film from a show that I had called Jean and Joann Seeing Red. It was at the Henrik Hudson Free Library in Montrose, New York. And this is just a corner of it that shows some of my red paintings. This is a collage that I did. It's from a series called My Memory Series, which was greatly inspired by the fiber art of my mother and grandmother. It is woven paper, painted woven paper, and it was recently shown at the Henrik Hudson Library in a show called Collage Plus with the artist Sharon Nakasato and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that show later on. This is a painted collage that I did recently here in 2020. I'm exploring the monochromatic tones of red. And I'm also starting to incorporate words, fonts. Here's 3 small monochromatic pieces that I've recently done in 2020. I do abstraction, but I also do landscapes. This is a landscape, an acrylic landscape that I recently did that I exhibited at the virtual show from the Frogs show, which is the Friends of the Great Swamp. And I exhibited there. It's a small acrylic painting, believe it or not. It's 5 inches by 7 inches. Here I am smiling because this is a multimedia piece, watercolor and colored pencils that I exhibited in 2019 at the Friends of the Great Swamp show. I won honorable mention for it. Yeah, I've been home for a whole year, so my backyard has greatly inspired me. So I've been doing my backyard series. This is a few pieces of my backyard that I have recently completed. These are acrylic paintings on acrylic paint on paper. I belong to the Lower Hudson Valley en plein air painters, and we meet along the Hudson River in different parts of the Hudson Valley, and we paint together down there. I generally do watercolor studies and I do drawings. Then I come back to my studio and I will do a painting inspired from all those watercolor studies. This is not any particular place, it's just from my imagination. This is another one from my imagination. These are 3 I think they're 24 by 36 inches. Drawing.
Can I interrupt just for a minute and ask that everyone besides Joann mute themselves?
Leslie's iPad needs to mute.
Thank you, Joann. Drawing is a very important part to my creative process. I draw every day. I draw for anywhere from 10 minutes to 2 hours. Drawing helps me to see, and it helps me to be engaged in the creative process in a very direct way. Sometimes when I'm having a hard day, I draw with my favorite color. This is a little picture that I have of me next to 2 drawings that I did using ballpoint pen. This was a show that was exhibited at the Mayapack Library, and the show was called Ink. Here's some more ballpoint pen drawings that I recently had a show at the Hart Library. The show was called Small Works by Joann Zwolski. I also do abstract drawings. This is a show that I had through the Katona Museum Artists Association. It was a George show. You got a mini solo show with it. And this is my wall of my abstract drawings. And here's a little film of it so that you can enjoy it closer. I call this series Marks and Circles. This series I explored for a whole year. These are just some of the stack of drawings that I have. Many times, if you happen to see me outdoors, I have a handmade sketchbook, and I will just quickly do a quick sketch of scenery that I see. This is a sketch that I did down at Charles Point in Peekskill. It's just really quick. My husband was with me, so I had to do it pretty quick. He wanted to go. Collage. Recently, I've been exploring collage, but in particular, painted paper collage. This is a collage that was in my show that I showed with Sharon Nakasako called Collage Plus at the Henrik Hudson Library, free library. And it is from my memory series, again, inspired by my mother and my grandmother's fiber arts. These are some of my collage that was in the same show. It is what I call my sketchbook series, using some of my sketches and my painted paper. Birds, this is a very recent collage. I've been doing a lot of bird collages. So here's one of my bird collages. This is a collage series that I started several years ago. It is called the Multi-Sketch Series. I took a lot of paintings and drawings that weren't working, believe it or not, and I reconstructed them into a collage piece. This is a recent example of my multi-sketch series that I've done in 2020. It's a collage. The abstract nature of my work allows the viewer to explore the paintings and see what lies within the mysterious layers that I put down. Interaction is the essential process. I encourage the viewer to bring their vision and experience the painting. So for the following paintings, I'm going to ask you to take a look and just use your imagination, and maybe you might be able to tell me some of the things you see in it. This is an acrylic painting. It's 20 by 16. This is a pretty recent painting that I did in 2020. I think it's 10 inches by 10 inches. This is a 3 foot by 3 foot painting, acrylic. This is a painting that I did at the very beginning of 2020. 3 foot by 3 foot. Collaboration, working with other people, is a very important part of my creative process. I love working with people. I love growing and seeing new things. And I work with, I've had several shows with different artists. This is a very special show that I had called Jean and Joann Seeing Red with Jean DeMoses, the late, great Jean DeMoses. Jean used to prime her canvases all in red, and then she would paint on top of it, allowing the red to come through. Me, on the other hand, I used red here, there, and everywhere. This is a show that I had with several artists. It was called Iterations, and the artists were Charlotte Berwin, Christopher Staples, Claudine Musuto, Georgine Honohan, Lori Paradiso. And what we did was we mailed work to each other, and we built on what the other artist had done. This iteration show was shown in several places, from Beacon, New York to Ridgefield, Connecticut. This is a show that I had with my husband, Kenneth Zwolski. It was called 81 Plus. It was based on a book that he had written, A Fool's Meditation of the 10,000 Things, Photos and Haiku. And because haiku has 3 stanzas, what I did was I used his photos as inspiration, and I did 3 paintings of one subject based on it, because a haiku has 3 stanzas. It was a great honor to be with my husband. This is just a show that I had pixels and paint with the photographer Justin P. Goodhart. It was photography and acrylic paint and paintings. If you look at Justin's picture, his photograph on the left, it has a similar format as my multi-sketch, as my collage has. And I met Justin when he was putting work into a show, and I met him there. And when I saw his photograph, I got all excited because it reminded me greatly of this piece that I had just done. And so we eventually had a show at the Henrik Hudson Free Library called Pixels and Paint. And it was a really, I enjoyed it. It was a great show. Okay, Collage Plus was a show that was supposed to be from March 2nd to March 29th, 2020 at the Henrik Hudson Library. I had it with the artist Sharon Nakasato. Sharon unfortunately couldn't make it today. Of course, as you all know, we kind of had a little lockdown during that time. And so we weren't able to have the reception. So not too many people got to see the show. So we have a little joke that goes with it. And it was called The Longest Show No One Ever Saw. But upcoming, I'm going to be in a show with 2 other great artists, Georgine Hanahan and Sharon Nakasato, and it's going to be called Conversations, and it's going to be at the Mayapack Public Library in June 2021. This is not the announcement card, but this is one of the pieces that we worked on. Throughout this year, we have been mailing work to each other and building upon each other, and we're going to be showing work that we did together and our individual pieces. It's going to be a great show, and this Conversations has really helped me throughout this year, and I thank these 2 artists for being great inspiration to me. I can't begin to thank you for coming today. It has been a great honor to have you. You are so kind to give up your night on this rainy, horrible night to come. If for any reason you are interested in seeing more of my work, you can go to the Instagram. I do have an Instagram page. It is Zwolski14. So thank you so much. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Joann. So let's open this up to questions from people for Joann. Comments?
Comments?
Hey,
I have
Tim.
a comment.
Sure. Who has a comment?
I didn't know, Joann, that you had expanded even further and further than I knew you had done in the past. It's very exciting.
Thank you, John. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
One of the things that the pandemic gave me is time.
Also, I'd just like to say I thought it was a beautiful presentation. I like the fade-ins and fade-outs, and it was just, visually a pleasure to watch. And you held my attention the whole time.
Thank you, John. I have to tell you, it's the first I taught myself this program. I never knew how to do this at all. And with Robin's support, I did it. My husband's support. For the past 2 months, I've been working on it. So thank you. I really thank you, Jim. Thank you so much. Do you know
Joanne,
the hardest thing with, I have to tell you, the hardest thing with computers and computer graphics, I know that Lawrence, hey Lawrence, how are you? I know that he does computers. My hands don't get dirty. And that's the hardest thing. I kind of like my hands getting dirty.
Joanne, you really lifted my spirits tonight.
Thank you. That's it. You like red too, Linda? Is that it? Is you like
Oh,
red?
I love all colors, but one of the things I liked to hear you talk about was the playing, that you're very serious and that you are looking for ways to play more and using strange tools to do that. And so I was interested in that, and I ID with being very serious, you know, and needing to learn how to play more.
I had the opportunity, as I told you, I was an educator. I had the opportunity to teach for 36 years, grades K through 12. And one of the things that my students taught me is how important it is to play and to enjoy the creative process. And I always pretend that I'm one of them as I begin. And I just try very hard to have a lot of fun with my creative process. If it's sometimes, well, if it's getting a little too serious, which it does so often, and it's going too far, you know, and it's not working, I will put something on it, and it changes the whole thing, and it forces me to think outside the box, and I just keep playing, exploring and grow. Although some people, I did have an advisor who one time told me an artist should never use the word play. So I really explore. I don't really play. I explore.
no, someone once told me that art isn't beautiful. And while I understand that art isn't always beautiful, we shouldn't have a rule that says art can't be beautiful.
We try to
I
make
agree
it
with
beautiful.
clay. And as a clay artist, but even though I don't work in clay very much, I'm always looking at things and saying, how would that work in my piece? So I collect strange implements to use in clay. And I love your potato mashers. I love them.
You could do that.
Thank
I
you.
can see that.
You know, Joann, when I did my graduate work, I almost went into, I had done my undergraduate, I did a lot of painting, and my graduate work, I was starting to do my master's in ceramics. And I found myself making ceramic tiles and flat pieces and doing a lot of drawing on them. And that's when I realized I was not a ceramic artist. I greatly admire ceramic artists. And I understand their process, but because I kept drawing on the clay, I realized I was more of a visual artist.
Never say never. I never draw, I never paint. Guess what I'm doing this year?
I know, I've seen some of your collages. They're very exciting.
I had a question, Joann.
Sure.
The groups of work that you showed seem so cohesive and so well thought up around that idea. I'm thinking specifically of the circles and the marks.
Yes.
I mean, obviously, it sounds like you're prolific. How many things did you do to be able to create such a amazingly cohesive group of work? I didn't feel like there was one negative note in the bunch. I thought they just all explored it on different levels and took it different places. So just wondering about your process. How much do you do?
Oh, you are so thank you. You have made my night. Let me just tell you, I'm very cohesive. First of all, marks and circles. What I did was, because I cleaned my studio, and when I cleaned my studio, I had quite a few pieces that weren't working, quite a few, and so I did something that you do. I tore them up into rectangles. And then I stacked them all up. And then I said, well, let's make them work. And I started And so each day I had a stack. My husband remembers this. Every morning, I told you I draw every single morning. I did this, marks and circles, a whole year that took me to do these. And I had a stack of these. And each month, I got a new stack. I'm telling you, I had a lot of work that I had to get through. And what I started doing was very quick. I gathered all kinds of drawing mediums, markers, colored pencils, regular pencils, acrylic markers, all kinds of drawing mediums. And I very quickly reacted to, so when I tore it up, I had some acrylic, sometimes I had some acrylic marks on it. Sometimes I had some watercolor on it, and I very quickly reacted to each mark. And then I started shopping at the same time. And when I started shopping, I got some, you get when you buy something, you get tags, little tags. So I started taking tags, and I started taking negative shapes from packaging, and I started using those as templates to trace and to add to them. And I just kept doing them, stacks and stacks of them. And I'm telling you, I had a lot. I had quite a few. And then eventually what I did, I took them and I narrowed it down, and I submitted it for a show, and I got accepted. And now what I'm doing with some of those stacks that didn't work, right, but they still have lots of energy on them, is I am incorporating them into other collage. I've started doing some artist books also, where I've taken them and reconfiguring them into new pieces. I wasn't going to talk about these, right, Diane? But this is a new artist book that I did that I just started a couple of them. I've only done a couple of them. Where I've taken, so some of these pieces are some old paint. There's a lot of energy in some of this, a lot of energy. This cover is an old painting that I had that just didn't work. I took it off the frame, and I reused it for the cover in the back. And so I've started making a couple artist books. I don't have too many, so I didn't want to talk about them, and I don't want to bore you too much. So, but I'm every day I go into the studio and work, and sometimes I can only work for an hour. So I have projects that I can work on for an hour. Sometimes I can work for 4 hours. I found this year that a lot of times, it was a hard year. It still is a hard year. So I just took out my red paint. I ran out of it. I've got to order some more. I've got a huge red painting that's waiting to be finished. But thank you so much for asking.
Hey, can I make a comment, Joann? This is just an observation of your presence here in my studio, your voice, your enthusiasm and whatnot. It's what I'm finding fascinating is I don't see a separation between your paintings and you. That I don't know if you are your paintings or your paintings are you. There's a beautiful non-separation between them. The energy of you and the energy in your paintings. Your paintings are both playful and serious. And I really appreciated your, Linda was speaking of that playful side of you. But then when you came to talk about your work, there's a seriousness in it. And so there's a depth in your paintings, and that is, I don't know if it's over or under the playfulness of the painting. And I get the same sense with you, your personality. There's a playfulness, and then there's a seriousness, and one is not on top of the other. And while I'm speaking this a different thing, there's pieces in there that you showed that had a perspective. There was a depth to them, and I was really drawn to those pieces, and I think it had that same. I think what resonated to me was in those paintings that had perspective, it made a line for me between that seriousness and playfulness. And, those are just words to express what I was feeling.
Thank you so much, Kurt. I really greatly appreciate it. I really do. Art is you. Your art is you. You can't help it. It's part of you. It is you. And that's part of what the hardest thing is because you keep seeing, you keep seeing you in your work. You don't have to go look in the mirror. You just look at your work and it's like, oh my goodness, but thank you so much. Your words.
I think you've done a great job of narrowing that line between art and you. I think you've done a spectacular job of that.
Thank you. Thank you, Kurt. Thank you so much.
I think
Joann,
that's very well said, Kurt.
Thanks. Thanks.
You had asked us to comment about what we saw in your paintings, and the word that comes to my mind is freedom. I mean, there is just a freedom in your paintings that are consistent in each painting. Is the word freedom just kept. Freedom of your color, your freedom of your line, the freedom of of what you were going to work on. Just I really applaud you for that.
Well, thank you so much, because part of what I finally have, it is hard. You try to become a really good craftsman in your work, but you also try to be expressive. And, I've tried, I finally have admitted that I am sloppy sometimes. I can't stay exactly within the lines. I was not good at coloring in within the lines. And so I finally have decided to accept that I am who I am. And if it goes outside the lines, it meant to go outside the lines. It wanted to go outside the lines. So I let it stay out there. There was a painting, it's called The Two Red Drips. I don't know if you saw it. It was at the Henrik Hudson Library. And those happened by accident. And I said to them, thank you for being here. And I just worked with it. I think the painting talks to you too. I talk to the painting and the painting also talks back to you. My paintings might look like they take a little bit of time, but they do take a great deal of time to complete because I communicate with them every day. But thank you so much, Leslie. That was so kind of you.
Joann, I have to say, I love your work. And when I see your work and knowing you, to me, it's vitality. There's so much vitality in your work, even in your small little cards and things. It just bubbles up with so much energy. It's just amazing, truly amazing.
Georgie, you're my fat friend for life. You know what? Part of energy is one of the things that I'm trying to express. So thank you.
I think you do it very well.
My thesis was called, what was it called, Ken? The visual act of the energy through line.
The visual act of energy through line.
Right. This is a painting I did many years ago. Many thousands of years ago. It was shown at the Rockland Center for the Arts, and it was juried by Hussard Dart. Do you know who he is?
Wow.
And I won honorable mention for it.
Congratulations.
Priestley quote that fortune favors the prepared mind, and it's about science, but that's your art. You are able to see lucky accidents and make something of them.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So when, one time I read about an artist and what they did to get engaged in their work was step all over, put paper on the floor and just step on it. And that was their way of gauging it, these little footprints all over the floor. Another artist, I thought this was the cleverest idea, painted the grocery list on their canvas. They would start writing all the things that they wanted to buy. I thought that was just such a wonderful, I've never done those. I've never done those, but I thought that was just such a wonderful idea to be engaged. Sometimes, a lot of times when I paint, I will have other paintings under it. And if it drips down on it, it's good because they're friends.
Joanne, did you mention your birthday card project? We got one in the mail today. And I gotta say, our family loves them. Absolutely loves them. We collect them.
Thank you, Lawrence. Thank you. No, I didn't mention that I have a conceptual project that it's another studio tour talk that I'll talk. It's a conceptual project that I call my birthday project. And there's Tiffany. Hello, Tiffany. That is a very special project that I would be glad to do a presentation on another time. But it's a very dear project of mine. Thank you, Lawrence.
It brings joy to our house when they arrive.
I can't begin to tell you what joy it brings to me when I put it in the mail.
Oh.
It's a project I've been working on for 12 years. And it's a project that is extremely, very, very dear to me. I send birthday cards to certain people, and I have close to over 250 people that I send birthday cards. But that's another whole story.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you, Lawrence. Thank you for
You're welcome.
Joanne, you know you have my vote for the to go public with the birthday card project.
You have yes,
Been pushing that a while.
I see you wearing red, and I see Jim and Debbie are wearing red. Thank you for wearing red. I have to tell you that I was one year when I taught in elementary school, the school surprised me with a gift that I will never, ever forget. When I walked in, the whole school was wearing red. It was like walking through my paintings. All the gentlemen teachers had on red ties, and all the kids had on red. And for the rest of the year, so everybody knew that I loved the color red. And everybody, so for the rest of the year, the kids would, say, "Oh, I have a little red right here, Miss Zwolski." It was just an absolutely incredible gift that they gave me. And my husband that night also gave me rubies, I have to tell you.
I feel like I understand red better. I understand it, like it reached me. I don't think it's reached me up till now, but you really had red reach me. You brought it to me. Thank you.
No, thank you. And I have to get more red. Another one of my goals, and everybody knows this who are my friends, another one that brings me joy, so I'm going to hope that it brings you joy when you see it, is a red Corvette. I love red Corvettes. If I see a red Corvette, it's a good day. One day I saw 5 in a row. And my hope is to be able to be in a red Corvette for one day. I don't want more than one day, because you don't want to ruin a good thing, And my hope is when I am 80, I will be able to be in a red Corvette for one day. My problem is, I think when I'm 80, I'm going to be able to get in it. I just don't know if I'll be able to get out of it.
One day. Why don't you just get one?
So if you see a red Corvette, besides understanding the color red,
money now?
I hope it brings you a good day. Anybody else? Any other questions? Well, I've also, having the opportunity to teach has helped me tremendous. I want to thank, I have all my students that I've ever taught, because they have taught me so much. I've recently taught, I've been retired from teaching K through 12, and I've been for the past 12 years teaching adults, and the adults have given me a wealth of information and joy. I am so fortunate to be able to engage in their creative process when they start drawing, and they are incredible artists, and I hope, Angiavo, they continue drawing. Anybody else, any other questions? Oh, well, what do you know? Thank you, Robin. This has been.
Oh, thank you for doing it.
It
You're
worked. It
welcome.
worked, Ted. It worked. I have to tell you, as I told you, for 2 months, I've been studying this program.
And now you'll always know it.
Now, well, I don't know if I'll be able to do it again. Well, need another 2 months of studying.
But we've recorded this, so you can share it with anyone who wasn't able to be here tonight. And it will go up on our website and our YouTube channel.
Thank you, everybody, for
Yeah.
being here.
Excellent, excellent
Thank you very
presentation. Yeah.
Great job,
was
Joann.
really great.
And for those of you who come to these regularly or don't, our next month we'll be visiting Robin Orst's studio. And Robin Orst, who's right over here, next to Tiffany on my screen. And in May, we'll be visiting Hillary Hostetler's studio.
Hey,
Fabulous.
Right.
I bet Linda Winter wants to volunteer one of these days.
Oh, we'll see about that.
And I just want you to know that I was up in Tiffany's neck of the woods yesterday and today, but I had to come on the Zoom to see her.
sorry.
Tiffany Dykeman is a ceramic artist, right, Tiffany?
I'm trying to be.
You are a multi-talented.
Oh, I saw one of your bowls today from the salt firing.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
cool. I didn't even know I had one in that firing. Oh, wait, did it? Yeah. They're always in.
Out in the
They're always
rain.
popping in. I just wanted to comment too, because you were talking about students. Joann was my studio art teacher in 10th grade when I was a 10th grader. And
that was last year. That was last year.
yeah. And you know, but one of the things about knowing Joann, and it seems like many of you do, anytime I'm ever with Joann, she's teaching me something, whether it be about art or about life. So thank you, Joann.
Thank you, Tiffany. You teach me. We had the honor of teaching together one year. That classroom rocked.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I think it was 2 years. I think we taught
a couple
together
of
for 2
years. We had the
Yeah.
honor of teaching together. And my
Yeah.
student came back and taught with me. What an honor. And now she's the chairwoman.
Are you?
Right, yes.
Wow.
Yeah, now I'm an art. Now I'm an art teacher in the same building that Joann was my art teacher in at Lakeland High School.
High school.
No, which one is that? My kids were in Lakeland.
Lakeland High School.
Oh, okay. You didn't have mine.
Tiffany, I'm just going to add to that because the other thing, Joann always makes me smile.
Yeah, me too.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's impossible not to smile. And it's easy for me not to smile, but with you, just always make me feel, I guess I'm just always so happy to see you.
Well,
I don't
I'm happy
know.
to see you too, Robin.
I have to, yeah, I have to agree with that, Robin. Every single time I'm ever with Joann, it's like magic. You're a beautiful soul and a phenomenal artist. Now I'm sorry I came late. I didn't get to see some of that. So being that I'm not officially, maybe I will join now, a member of the Peekskill Art Alliance if you'll have me. But how can I see the beginning of this that I missed, Robin?
What I'm going to do is post it. Once I get the recording, I'll post it on the Peekskill Arts Alliance homepage.
Okay.
Actually, before I do that, I will post it on the Peekskill Arts Alliance YouTube channel. And those are open to the public.
Great.
But the
Awesome.
link will be on the PAA homepage.
Very cool. Thank you.
You're welcome. And Joann
I
could
want
always
to
send
thank
it to you.
everybody. Thank you, Joann, for
Yeah.
this was lovely. And everything everybody said about you is so true. You bring joy and happiness wherever you go. And you never fail to leave some little bit of wisdom. Thank you very much. Everybody have a good night. Don't get stuck on the road on your way home.
Yeah, right. You'll
Thank
have
you,
good journey.
Charlotte.
Thanks again. Nice to see
Thank you,
everyone.
Brookie. Thank you, Hillary.
night.
Thank you,
Good night.
everybody, for coming. Thanks,
Good night.
Donna. Thanks,
Thank you,
Diane. Thanks,
Okay.
Jim and Debbie. Thank you, Joanne.
Good night.
Take care,
Good
Hillary.
night.
Bye, Lawrence.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Talk to you soon.
Yep. Okay.